Good now? Got it. Okay. All right. We had a small technical difficulty.
Very professional.
Here's the thing.
Very professional.
The
show.
budget got cut yet again while we were live. All right, we're gonna roll back. So we are doing a round table talk, but the budget didn't afford a round table.
No.
So we put together 2 smaller tables.
We got a
I want to
They're
introduce.
actually plastic tables.
They're
with
plastic tables with a
tablecloths.
cloth. It's fine.
It's
All right. So what we'll do, I'm going to give everyone a chance. We're going to introduce ourselves. What do you do here at Redemption Church, Robert?
Hello, I'm Robert Beckman. I'm one of the elders here. My day job is with a group called Open Doors with Brother Andrew, looking out for persecuted Christians.
Hey, I'm Holly Hungerford. I'm the kids director here at Redemption. I get the privilege of serving our families and children here at Redemption.
No need to introduce himself.
I
I
mean,
mean, you guys already know about Matt.
This is
We already
his
know.
show.
My name is Brannen, and I get the
it's being
privilege
shut
of
down.
being lead pastor here at Redemption.
Yeah, so we wanted to come together today and just talk about Redemption Church as we prepare to reopen. June 7th, so it's very exciting. This is all live, so who knows what'll happen. We probably will have some issues. We can't censor anything, guys and girls, so just remember that.
I will
We don't
remember
have
that.
any delay rolling. So we're going to answer some questions that you guys had and just talk about what does it look like. So Pastor Brannen, why don't you give us just a quick overview of what we're looking towards as far as reopening?
Yeah, so we, of course, have been virtual only since mid-March. And so we are looking at over 2 months of being online only. It has been a unique season, to say the least. We've seen God do some amazing things, but here's what I do know. We have missed you guys terribly.
Yes.
While virtual has been amazing and God's been gracious, nothing replaces being with each other in one location and worshiping. So we've been looking at a lot of data. We've talked to county commissioners. We've talked to local doctors. We've been keeping just a beat on what's happening in our area statistically. And we decided that June 7th would be best to reopen. And so we're going to have our normal service times, 9:30 and 11, and we will be in person, and we'll also offer a virtual offering of our service. So if you can't attend in person, then we would recommend that you just simply watch our online stream that we do every single Sunday. So June 7th.
June 7th, we are excited. It's going to be so fun to actually gather with you guys in person. Let me ask this. So this was a great question that came in. Robert, I'll let you start this one.
Yeah.
So some people, I think, will say, hey, June 7th, that's too early, guys and girls. Let's wait. Let's make sure everything is really safe. So how are we responding to that question?
So the theological difference would be the spirit of fear versus the spirit of stupid. So where is that balance? Somewhere in the
Real talk with Robert Beckman.
Real talk.
It's coming at you live.
Not
baby.
beating around the bush.
I love it. Yes.
So certainly our relationship with the Lord, it forbids a spirit of fear. So no matter what you do or don't do, you're not allowed to have fear, even if whether that means staying at home or whatever else you're doing or not doing. So we can't have a spirit of fear. And so at some point we do have to come out. And if you think historically about Christians in general throughout times of difficulty, they tend to be the kind of people who say, I want to interact with my brothers and sisters. I want to be out there in society. So again, not being stupid, not doing dumb stuff, which is going to make a bad problem worse. But you got to put fear behind at some point, and I think we're at that point.
Agreed. Holly, you have something to add?
I can't agree more. There's a point where you just have to overcome that fear and serve your brother and sister, and this is definitely that season to do that for sure.
Yeah, and that's laced, of course, with God's also given us a brain. So like to your point, Robert.
Some of us, the brain is larger than others.
Yes.
So we're not no comments
Well,
on which one. But we know that is the case.
That is true. Good point.
Yes.
So I mean, honestly, when we think about how do we do this wisely, because we cannot have a spirit of fear, but we also know that if we're walking in step with the Spirit, we're going to do that wisely. We're going to navigate difficult situations wisely. And so we definitely have been keeping just a beat on the statistics. And when you look at the statistics locally, they're very favorable for us to begin to reopen and, of course, take safety measures. So I just want to give you some statistics. And by the way, we'll put this into the comment section in a little bit. But the Florida Department of Health is where we've been getting our statistics from. The cases in our area have been very minimal.
Right.
So when you think about it, as of Tuesday, we had 776 total cases in Polk County, and there is 727 plus thousand people. So we're talking about of our population, 0.001 has confirmed cases. So let me say that again: 0.001 has confirmed cases of this, and so that's pretty significant there. That we don't have that. There's other stats out there. You guys want to throw them out?
Well, Commissioner Braswell last week I thought had great words to say, because again,
Agreed.
you got to think about, am I getting my information from a one-off story in Timbuktu, which is very different than our location,
Or a New York City.
a New York City? That's what I meant basically by Timbuktu, exactly.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
Because the news's job is to find the weird story in Alaska, which has nothing to do with us. So if you bring it back closer to home,
Yeah.
as you said, the stats for us is
Yeah.
really what it boils down to.
Yeah. And let me correct that. I'm sorry. It's 0.1% of our population in
Still
Polk County. It says
extremely
0.1.
low.
Sorry.
Extremely low.
0.1. I apologize for that. But yes, very low.
And
Fact
it's,
checkers let us know that was
Yes,
off. So thank you
yes,
guys
yes.
for doing your job.
Yes.
well.
Thank you.
it's
studio audience.
extremely low in our kids, which I know
Yes.
that's been like a great
Yeah.
concern for
Yep.
a lot of people. But in Polk County, 0 to 4, there were 2 cases reported, and 5 to 14, 11 cases reported with 0 deaths. So, I mean, it's definitely very, very low in our county for sure.
So, Holly, why don't you answer another great question in relation to that?
Yeah.
How is Children's Church when we
Yeah.
meet again June 7th? Are the kids meeting? When will they meet? How will it look different? What are some of your thoughts there?
We definitely are going to take, different precautions in the season for families. The first 2 Sundays back, June 7th and June 14th, we're going to offer family service. So kids will actually be in service with their parents. And then once we come back to services, we will be offering Children's Church starting June 21st. And kids will go into their environments, and we will have, sanitary stations for workers. Team will be wearing gloves when they're serving in preschool or nursery. And then items like toys will be changed in between services. So if you're in the first service,
That's great.
you're going to have a set of toys that's different from the second service. So we're going to take different, precautions for each group of children
I would
that are
venture
attending.
to guess that a lot of the kids don't have that kind of service at their own homes. I mean, seriously,
mean,
Mom, Dad,
would
when's
say
the last
that's
time we
accurate. Well,
Lysoled all the toys that the neighborhood kids were touching?
Yeah.
It's
true.
it's funny as you think through and we talk through these precautions, and we obviously want you guys to know how serious we take this and are responding to it. On the same token, as you're just re-engaging with normal life outside of this environment, go to Lowe's. Have you guys been
Lord,
to
yeah.
Lowe's or Home Depot?
Yes.
There's a
It's
lot
like
of
mayhem.
people
There's a lot of people
and very few masks.
touching
is
a
what I
lot
would
of
say.
products.
Like
Yes.
touching everything. It's like a game to touch as many things as possible.
Yeah.
So very good. Yeah, and for us, I think that's part of our response as a church is, hey,
Yeah.
we want to be. We always hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
we're definitely doing that in relation to you guys
And
itself.
I do think it's important to note that when you look at the stats of this, like how every good parent should be asking the question, how is it going to affect my kids? So we have 4
Right.
kids in our home. And so I love our kids. I don't want to put them in a situation that would bring harm. And when you look at all the stats, so you look at the CDC and what they're currently reporting, I mean, you just see it just seems from the stats that kids are affected differently than adults. Like 80% of
Yeah.
all deaths have been from people that are 65 years and older. I think nationally, there's only 12 deaths between 0 and 14 years old, and we want to mourn those. That is not right. It is not okay that has happened with us. But as we look at the stats, we understand that, okay, there's a difference between how little ones apparently are responding to this virus. And by the way, we're not experts. We're not doctors. We're not statisticians. We're just trying to look at what is being reported and make, just level-headed decisions. in terms of how do we regather. So that is something to take into consideration, how resilient our kids seem
are.
to be to this.
Something that we have to remember too, as we're talking about reopening, is again, whether you open this week or June 7th, this is a case by case. Each pastor, each leadership team, we're just doing our best. We've never experienced. We've all been in ministry a long time, but no pandemics, right, Robert? I mean, like these are uncharted waters.
That's right. Yeah. And that's right. So a lot of grace towards other churches.
Right.
Yeah.
Their situation's different. Many churches inherited a building that holds 500, but they run 50. You know, so they've been doing social distancing for many years, and we just never knew to call it that.
It is true.
That is true.
So their situation is different.
That is true.
Or they have a lot of older folks. Some churches have never had a kids program, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so we can't look across or hear about somebody in the news and worry too much about them. And then and within our own fold, a lot of grace always means I defer to my brother or sister. So the passage where meat was offered to idols, and some people, their conscience was very pricked, and they said, how could you as a Christian eat this stuff? Because you know it was offered before an idol. And the Apostle Paul's wisdom was, hey, it doesn't bother me. I know that idol is just a stupid piece of wood. But if I know it bothers this guy, I'm not going to do it. So out of deference, if I know my grandmother is nervous, then I'm going to be extra cautious around her.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the extra mile. So really, the one no would be digging in our heels is a no. Our opinion is the one that's right.
Agree.
Because we know we're going to get it wrong sometimes. And then in deference to my brother or sister, if I know something makes you nervous, I say, you know what? I actually am not worried about this. I don't think I'll get it, and I don't think I'll spread it. But I know if you're hyper nervous, I want you to know that we as a collective family are being super vigilant as much as possible to do anything humanly possible to have a clean environment.
Yeah, and there's no judgment. So between churches, if a church doesn't want to open for the foreseeable future, no judgment on our end.
Absolutely.
If they started 2 weeks ago, there's no judgment. Every church is going to be different. And every Christian may have a different bent. This isn't a sin issue. This is probably a matter of wisdom for you and your family. And so if you feel like June 7th, is not a good time for you guys to re-engage. We understand that, and there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's nothing from a standpoint of judgment that we are looking upon you. That's just what we decided as a general rule is a good time for us to open.
And we can say, as an elder group, we definitely put a lot of thought and prayer into that as to, hey, what are we going to do? One thing I love that we did as a church was we sent out a response to everyone at home and said, hey, what are some of the things that you guys think it's important for us as we look to reopen to take into consideration? Holly, why don't you start us off? What are some of those responses that we received? And then in reference, how will we change some things up to the responses they sent?
The majority of people said, okay, we want hand sanitizer, we want 6 feet apart, we want some distance between people and things like that, and maybe like hold off on kids ministry. Those were some of the thoughts that people had. And we said, all right, we're going to do, we're going to hold doors open so there's like less touching throughout the first few weeks. We're going to place like giving stations in the back. We're going to not do communion, things like that. So we're going to make it like as less physical touch as possible. We're going to distance seats between families and things like that, of that nature. We're going to offer sanitizer. We're going to offer masks. We're going to go above and beyond to just offer options for people as well as keep people at a physical distance to make people comfortable.
We have the benefit of 2 services. For those of you who have never really done the math, that building is technically can hold 400 per, right?
Yeah, correct.
So
correct.
we can when we say 50%, we can easily set up 200 chairs in that room. You don't realize how normally what we do is we fudge. We have giant aisles and we have space in the middle of space. But we can get 200 folks in there very easily.
Still distancing.
Still very much distancing, accommodating for anyone who wants to come physically. And then I like what you said before, Brandon. Like, basically, nobody should ever have to start their sentence with, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm a caretaker for my elderly grandparent, and I don't want to pass it on. You don't need to say you're sorry. If we don't see you physically for a while, that's totally fine, and we respect your decision, and we're confident you're making the best decision for you.
Sure.
That's right. I think if you hear nothing else, like that's validated too for somebody.
Yeah, it's a both and. We feel like it's time to regather, and we want to do that wisely, and we want to be mindful because we know that there are people who may be a little bit older or may have some underlying conditions, but they still want to be a part of God's people. So we're like, well, come, we're taking precautions. You know, there'll be mask available, or you wear your mask, and you don't have to touch anything that anybody else has touched.
Yeah.
We're not going to offer like kids ministry this first couple weeks. I mean, we're going to do our best. We're not going to pass that offering plate, is what Holly was talking about earlier. We'll have giving stations just simply in the back. And so, yes, we want to be mindful of anybody that wants to come back but may have some concerns, because we completely understand. We've never been through this before,
Right.
and neither has anybody else. So we're all trying to navigate this for the first time.
Something that's not talked about in all of this, and this is actually a big benefit, I think, to some of us. Now, some may know I have a slight OCD bent towards germs.
Yes.
Slight.
Yes.
I think you all know this well. This is a service for you. If you do not like germs,
Yes.
now is the time, right? Like now is the time to come. We have masks on, we have gloves. and
Hospitals
sanitizer.
Tell
are
them about the
jealous
bulbs.
of us right now.
What's that?
Are you about to tell them about the bulbs that almost gave me a tumor?
The bulbs.
UV bulbs?
We're experimenting.
UV bulbs are in the house.
UVC light is a way of sanitizing things. Robert turned me on to that, and I did. So yesterday,
But you're not supposed to tan with them.
No.
He didn't tell
you
me.
turn them
I
on and
turned-
off without people in the room. No
So
people.
I
in the room.
put it in my lamp and I turned it on, and then I asked Holly to come and take a look.
And look at
It was
them.
not good, I will say.
I was like,
it was.
I'm tasting something right now.
Oh my
tasting
gosh.
You're
And my
tasting
eyes are burning.
You were
Well,
tasting
why?
burnt holly.
and a weird smell.
We
There
need
was
to
a weird smell.
clarify.
We won't
This
be doing
happened
that.
in Matt's office, and that bulb has not. We don't have a bunch of these bulbs
Yeah.
sitting around, so that's not how we're lighting the auditorium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was.
We have our normal,
This was
regular lights.
experimentation of
Yes.
hey, how
Mad
do you-
scientist stuff.
How it
That's
works,
right.
yes.
That's right. But trying to figure out, hey, what are some of the ways that we don't have to spray everything down with cleaner, but also to offer some clean. So it is good from that standpoint,
will
less
work very
germs.
well.
Hey, how about this, Robert? Communion. That's got to change.
Yeah, so the first couple of weeks, better safe than sorry. We just won't do it for the first couple of weeks.
Right.
Really, that no-touch environment. There's a lot of things that we can easily get rid of, but that's really our. If you had to question, if you have a question in your mind, I wonder will they do this, and the answer involves touch, no, then it's not happening. So if it's high-fiving or elbow bumping or shaking hands or touching a door or having to pick up anything, then it's a big no. It's a no-touch environment. You'll be fine to walk in with other people opening the door, showing you to a seat. No physical interaction with anybody.
Now, something to that
Yeah,
point
yeah.
that we could also, maybe, Brandon, you touch on this. When people come through the doors, are they going to see everything exactly the same? Do we have any surprises for them?
No, we have not met at our building again for over 2 months.
Right.
So what happens is Matt gets bored after a certain time
Yes.
period, and he's like, "Hey,
Like
let's
one
start a
day.
brand new project." And so, yes, when you walk in the
this is accurate.
doors of the lobby on June 7th, you're going to notice a massive, and I will say more sterile environment.
That is
yes,
true,
totally.
Because
actually.
he's
Yes.
a total germaphobe. He was like germaphobe before Corona. Before it was cool,
Yeah.
this guy was a
Yeah.
germaphobe.
You have a friend in me if you are a germaphobe.
And so
I'm
it's
with
going to be
you.
a far more sterile and cool, I may add,
Yeah.
environment
Yes.
when you
If
when
you
walk
think,
in.
when you see carpet, and I'm this person, I love hard surfaces on the floor. I love tiles. I love hardwoods. If you look at carpet and you think, I wonder what's hiding in that carpet, when you walk in our lobby, you are in for a treat.
Yes.
You will not see carpet. You will see an awesome, cool floor. It's
Yes.
really nice looking.
Yes.
Yeah, they're actually, as we speak, they're finishing work on that this
Yep.
afternoon. So
Yep.
very cool. We're excited. We wanted you guys to know, too, when you come back in, almost to have this newness feel.
Yeah.
Something that I've seen that I'll speak to real quickly, because I've seen this circulated with a lot of different groups and posed as questions is, hey, like, how is singing going to be affected? Are we going to sing? Are we going to worship? And again, I think this goes into a church-by-church response.
Yep.
We can't speak for any other church of what's good or right for them, but what we feel as a group is we will sing. We will have our band on the stage. We will have chairs properly distanced from one another, and it's certainly your choice. You can sing, you can not sing. Something that we've kind of gotten familiar with in this virtual setting is more of a singing over people.
Yeah.
Hey, allow us to sing these songs over you. And if that's still the mode that they're in, definitely okay with that. But I think that'll be good. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, by the time June 7th rolls around, we are still 2.5 weeks out.
Right.
And so just understand where Florida is going to be in the reopening process. I mean, right now we're in full phase 1. In all likelihood, we're in phase 2 of the reopening, which means that most restaurants can go up to 75%, it appears, in capacity. Retail, 75% capacity. So I think what you're seeing is it's going to become normal again to be in crowds.
Right.
And to shop amongst crowds and to worship alongside of crowds or other people. And so I know it's going to feel weird at first, like, oh my goodness, I forgot what it's like to be around people.
Yep.
But what you'll notice is we will get back into a rhythm where that, again, feels very natural and normal. And so if you come in the first week and you feel like, oh, this feels odd to me, it's going to feel odd to all of us because we haven't done this in over 2
Right.
months. I mean,
Everyone.
we would be approaching 3 months at that point of not meeting together. So there is going to be, it's like the first date. I don't know. Like the first date, I took Heather out to Taco Bell, and it was a little bumpy, right? I mean, but
Take your lady out somewhere nice.
But
That's right.
yeah, really
The
show
Taco
her a
Bell.
good time on the town.
In an unrelated note, we were both very ill the next
Oh
day.
my gosh.
We love Taco Bell. We love Taco Bell.
But you settle into a rhythm. You get to know each other.
Yeah.
The conversation flows a little bit more natural. I mean, so it kind of works. Life works like that. It will feel a little odd the first time we're back.
Well, it's funny. Even we went to get, we've been doing a lot of takeout to try and help support restaurants. And I went the other night for a Wednesday night worship to pick up food. And I'm standing there waiting for my order, and another person comes in, has no idea what to do. They're like, do I stand behind?
Yeah.
Do I go
Yeah.
here? It's just this weirdness of. So there's going to be some uncomfortable moments like that when we relaunch.
And that's back
but
to all the grace. Like
That's it.
So much
back
grace.
to
So
the
much
grace.
grace with yourself if you feel awkward, grace with others, all the way
So
around.
if you don't know what to do with your hands,
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
We won't judge. Let me ask you this.
And I do
Oh, go
think,
ahead.
by the way, that there will be people who they give and receive love through physical touch. Like that's their love language. So
Yep.
they'll find somebody else that mutually agrees, and they may hug on that day, and it's going to feel weird. Like two people who don't live in the same household hugging. It's going to happen.
It will happen.
It's going to, and then it's going to become normalized again. That it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
We might want to photograph the first hug.
The first
Whenever that
It's a
happens.
moment in
it might be
history.
on the
It really
7th.
is.
It might be the 21st. I don't know
Oh,
when
it's
it'll be
happening on the
later in the summer.
7th.
The 7th. Oh,
7.
Holly the hugger. She's out.
What would you say? We can do this real quick. What have you missed most in the last couple months? What's the one thing that you're like, man, I wish we would have had that?
Yeah, you know what I really miss is we hosted a redemption group at our house on Wednesday nights, and we were like mid-study. We were going through financial peace this past semester, and we like made it to lesson 5 of 9. And so we had gotten in this rhythm of meeting together and talking and sharing snacks and meals, and then that's overnight literally taken away.
Right.
So I've missed being in close like communion with other people.
Holly, how about you? Spiritual or non-spiritual?
Okay.
Anything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Either
Yeah.
answer is okay.
I think I've missed Sundays the most. Like I've missed seeing a big corporate group of people. I've
Yeah.
missed my team. I've missed my friends. I've
Yeah.
missed our church family just so much.
Yeah, I mean, you forget how when you see each other on a Sunday morning, like if somebody's had a hard week and you can just kind of tell they're down, you wouldn't officially put on the list, why am I going to church today? Well, because I want to make sure I inspect my friends and make sure they're doing good. You don't do that, but informally, relationally, you actually are.
Right.
When you see someone in person, you're like, he looks kind of bummed. Oh, hey, how's it going? Holly, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be so much healthier Some of y'all need to be inspected, and some of y'all need to come to inspect others just to see how they're doing. And then I've missed, and I look forward to the corporate worship, just the singing.
Yep.
You know, the Bible talks about we're to sing these hymns to each other. When we sing corporately, we are reminding each other that our faith is in the Lord, and so that's hard to do when you're remote. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not a fan of speaking to a camera. So that has been a huge
Agreed.
adjustment for me.
Yes.
Is speaking to, you got normally two guys in the room that are filming, and then
Like
a
right
camera,
now?
like right now.
Like right now. Right now would
like
be the
exactly.
thing.
Thank
so,
you, studio
so
audience.
I will love
Laugh
to
track
see your face.
Well, a lot of it really has to do with Brannen thinks he's funny.
That's right.
But the people who are with him every day, they don't think he's as funny. So if there's two people,
Real
in a
talk with
camera,
Robert.
Yeah.
two people in a camera,
Bringing
he's
truth
getting no
bombs.
feedback.
No
He needs
Murdering
that- he
egos
needs
with
that-
Robert Beckman.
He needs that one
new
person in
podcast.
the crowd who thinks he's funny and is like,
Feel good about yourself?
The heckler.
Meet Robert.
yeah. So you'll get that interaction, which will
Take it
help.
back up.
I know.
Matt, take it
True.
back.
It is so true.
What have you missed, Matt?
I will say, in the vein of church, I agree with Robert. I like to say "sing it out," and there's no one to say "sing." It's hard. It's hard to feel like you're connecting with someone because music tends to be very
I
emotional.
don't know if you've noticed. You've translated it to like sing it with your kids, stand up with your family.
Yeah.
So you have
Sing
a
at your
new
dog.
one.
Yeah,
a new one.
Sing at
it
your
allows
monitor.
to sing over you. I will say though, the one thing I've really missed, and I know we've talked about this, sports.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Can we fix that
Goodness.
though? Are we going to be able to fix
Listen,
that?
I don't know.
I will be, protesting in the streets if college football is canceled. I mean,
Agreed. And I
I'm
will
going to
carry
get
that
rowdy,
banner.
throwing things. I'm going to be very violent, very violent.
So
On a,
Lose it.
on
will
a
be-
positive note, I've learned a lot about Korean baseball. It's
Wow.
it's great. I can't say a lot of the names, but they're doing a great job.
They're
over
doing a
there.
great
they're
job.
really doing a great job
Good stuff.
throwing the ball around.
The Last Dance documentary, though, was incredible.
Did you
So
watch
good.
this,
Oh my
Robert?
goodness.
10 out of 10.
10 out of
Okay.
10.
So good.
By the
So
way,
good.
I was halfway through.
Oh,
this
nothing,
bandwagon.
Holly. Oh, nothing, Holly.
So listen, I grew
All
up.
three of you men watched a dance.
Oh my God!
Oh,
What is
my.
happening? I'm so confused.
Last
Yeah, you are
Dance
confused.
is
It's
the
not
Bulls.
actually about a dance.
Oh.
That
Michael
hurt my heart.
Jordan dominance
That
during the
hurt my heart.
90s, The Last Dance. So
Sorry, guys.
they knew
Goodness
during their last
gracious.
season, they were told, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. You're going to get fired.
Oh, gosh.
And so the coach actually
Someone
wrote
take it
up
back.
Tell
He's
them.
about
in
to tell.
1998, and he called it The Last Dance. And he's like, guys, this is our last season to be together. Let's go out in a blaze of glory. And boy,
It was the
did
last
they.
dance.
By the way, fun
last-
I know
fact.
Michael Jordan.
Do you
Thank
know?
you, yes.
Okay.
Not the singer, the basketball player.
Fun fact: you could watch it on
We love
ESPN for mature audiences, or you could watch it on
What is
ESPN
happening
2,
right
and
now?
they bleeped everything out.
That's true. Yes,
I do.
So
yes.
what I remember of the
Chris
dialogue
just
was
left the building.
We lost
We
one of our
lost him.
videographers on that.
our studio audience is leaving in droves. But yeah, ESPN 2 had the edited version,
Yes.
and I only heard every other word, but I didn't care. I was watching the basketball.
very
It
Oh
was
my
awesome.
word.
One of the best
The Last
documentaries for sure.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, and
so good.
just when I thought, I said, well, they can't top that. One word, Lance.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
coming
you
out.
did it to me again, ESPN. I'm gonna
Oh.
need to see the
Wow.
story.
But
Wow.
when I
This
look
is
at
turning
Lance,
very
this is
quickly.
horrible. This is
Okay,
this is the evil judgment of
Back
my
to
heart.
Welcome to our sports podcast at
Oh my
Redemption
guys.
Church.
I think what we're saying
Okay,
is we
all right.
need to open a sports
Guys.
podcast. We're very
now
excited.
it's very clear what we've missed.
Yes.
that's what I'm
You
trying to
guys
say.
in
Missed
sports.
most.
We have definitely
Yes.
missed this. Now, something that's interesting in regards to service, yes, we're joining June 7th. However, if you're not comfortable coming back,
Yeah.
what are their options
You
there?
still got to come anyways.
You still,
You still gotta
just push through
As
it.
we
It's-
reviewed.
Again,
And I will hug
real
you.
talk
Must
with
come,
Robert.
and Holly will hug you.
Again,
through.
there is so much grace in all this. We have grace for our brother and sister churches out there.
Right.
We have grace with our brothers and sisters in Christ. Whatever is happening in your life, you know it far better than I. I know my family, and I know what's happening and where we are at health-wise, that we'll be here. But if you can't show up, you're not comfortable yet showing up, again, we're going to live stream both services, 9:30 and 11.
Right.
And there'll still be elements that will be kind of online only,
Right.
that you'll have like an exclusive pass, if you will, that you'll get some content before the actual service, and then after the service that the crowd in the room won't have. And the same is true for the crowd that comes on June 7th. What they experience is going to be different than online, but we want you to worship wherever you can.
One more grace warning. We talked about grace a lot. As we said, did you catch it? The kids will be in there with us those first 2 weeks for sure. We'll see about beyond that. For the first 2, for sure. So
With a lot of energy they've been saving.
A lot of energy that they've been saving and building up.
On their extended summer
the
break.
Patchett's only feed their kids sugar.
That's
all
it.
they're.
That's it.
A well-balanced diet of sugar. No. But so grace, it's going to be shorter services. We're going to recognize the fact that the kids, we can't ask them to have, listen to a long lecture series. But grace is going to be, it's going to be a little rowdier, right?
It'll
That's
be
okay.
rowdy. It'll
and
be
if you're a
rowdy.
parent and you got that kid, it's okay. And if you're older and your house is dead quiet, and you should just say to yourself, this is cool. This is extremely cool that we got all this little energy, and that's just going to be part of the deal for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting
Grace.
to see. I feel like that's going to be one of those things that has shifted really probably in a big way amongst people. Is it's kind of like, hey, who cares? It's almost like the crowd noise and the kids chatter, it's welcomed. Because it means we're back together.
We're happy for it. We're excited about it. We're glad it's a little bit rowdy. It's going to be a little rowdy. That's okay.
Because it's been too quiet.
It's been too quiet. That's right.
Too quiet.
We got to compensate for all those lost weeks.
Too quiet.
As Robert said, we're just laughing at each other's jokes, and we need some new faces.
And
we've been working on this material.
It'll help us
Courtesy
pray for
laughs are
Holly more.
welcome.
We'll pray for Holly more, and then as we looking forward, you might see, and you might go, you know what? I should go talk to Holly and volunteer. I should be in the kids ministry. These kids are awesome. We love these kids. That's why we exist as a church. We're here to help develop them spiritually.
And that's another great question. And you may be asking, like, hey, as you guys reopen, what can I do to help? And so I do know this, because we haven't met for it'll almost be 3 months by the time we actually start services again. Yeah, our teams, especially our kids ministry, will need you as we implement new policies and procedures and safety guidelines. That team could definitely use you. So you can simply reach out to us via direct message or comment that, hey, I'm interested in helping. We would love it if you could help, especially with our kids ministry.
Sure.
So do you have any final word for people? Obviously reopening June 7th. Any final piece that you want to share with them? Robert, can I start with you?
Yeah, so I think of all times to be unified as a body of Christ, this is a wonderful time. And I would say even globally as the body of Christ, this is a great time to be not known as people who dig in our heels and have polarized opinions. And as we've noticed, our friends who used to be experts on impeachment, they became experts on COVID overnight.
Yes.
All of my friends are geniuses. It's
people.
just amazing. And so to just take a step back and so, you know what? I mostly want to be known as part of the body of Christ. So this is a great time to show unity, to show, we mentioned the word deference. I defer to my brothers and sisters out of love and respect for them. So this is a great time to show unity in how we can be very different and even have different opinions, but we love each other and we're still going to work it out together.
Yeah, Holly?
I think it's a good time to definitely just be informed on things, to have, knowledge and not just fear and information and all these things, but to have a balance, to have wisdom, and to ask God for that in this time and to do what's right for you. Just to use wisdom for sure.
Love it.
Yeah, this is a time, I would say, for you and I to grow in our faith. So God often uses the tough seasons of life to mature us greatly. And so if there was ever a time for you and I to really grow, it's when we experience hardship. And I would say now is the time where deep roots in the gospel can really be evident and seen. And so now's the time to really water your faith, water your faith, water your faith.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you guys are hearing the message clearly. that we are excited to have you back. We can't wait to see you in person on June 7th. If you didn't get a chance to ask your questions, we're still around and available through all the normal media. Certainly post it in the comments, shoot us a direct message, email us, info@redemptionlakeland.com. We want to connect with you guys. We want to do life with you. We appreciate you for sticking with us through these last 8-9 weeks. You've made the content that we're producing possible. It's you being consistently engaged with what we're doing that we're able to do this. So thank you guys for being a part of that, and we look forward to seeing you.
Shout out to some of our media talent, which has been so awesome over these last few
weeks. Yes. David, sneak around. Just come around. Which cam is live?
Come over here.
Which camera? Come on. This is a guy that's always behind the camera. You never see him.
Chris Florence.
Chris Florence.
We have another camera.
There he is.
Come on.
Everybody knows Chris Florence, but we got to put him on camera again.
They have done so much. They've made virtual church possible.
This is true.
For us right now. So they're all right.
She's
Becca,
not.
many
Everybody
of you.
knows Becca. You could slide your headphones off and come right out.
Come on.
See, I know how that system works, so it's not good.
These individuals have sacrificed and given so much to allow us to worship online remotely. So thank you guys. We appreciate these three.
They have lived here.
And I would say we're missing one more vital member. Caleb Oliver has given so much of his time, talents, and resources to make virtual church possible. Thank you, Caleb.
All of the comments, and I've heard so many times from other church leaders and then just from friends in the community, hey, what you guys are doing online, it's incredible. It really is incredible. And it is literally, these are the people that make it possible.
Yeah, because if it was up to the rest of us, it would have been a very miserable experience.
Brannen was doing,
Am I
live? Am I live?
I'm live.
Okay. You guys hear me?
Oh, we had such great theories, but to happen, these guys.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's great. So thank you, team, for making this possible. We appreciate you guys. We look forward to seeing you June 7th.
June 7th.
June 7th. We'll see you then.
Find me for a hug.
Free hug.